what we just talked about has nothing to do with politics and everything to do with just being a decent human being and having a general respect for everybody.
Yeah.
We don't need to be a political podcast
Right.
to have that stance.
And I don't want to hear a word about how unfair it is that you're being judged because you have a swastika. Because you have a swastika, you can go fuck yourself. And I don't listen to our show. If you disagree that having a swastika means you can go fuck yourself, don't listen to our show. I'm Justin Lesko, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu brown belt and former pro MMA fighter.
And I'm Mike Callahan, a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu brown belt and a law enforcement officer.
Coming up on the show today, we're going to take a look at whether or not your Jiu Jitsu obsession might be taking over your life when you don't even realize it.
Also, in fight news, there was a fight announced today that we've been campaigning for on the show for a long time.
Do you think we deserve some credit for that? I'm taking the credit.
Okay.
But before we get into all that, today's show is brought to you by Crown Rash Guards. We've been wearing their stuff for a little while now, and it's really holding up.
Yeah, typically when you hear the term affordable, you think low quality, but that's just not the case with these guys. They're making quality rash guard, and it's at a really affordable price.
Yeah, affordable usually means really thin rash guards that rip really easily, but that hasn't happened with these for us. They've actually been holding up through some of our more grueling training sessions that you and I go through in the morning.
Yeah, and they're minimal, which, I've said before that I like, and it's a benefit for all of our viewers on the gram, too, because they don't get caught up looking at my rash guard when I'm doing all that flashy shit to you.
Usually Mike Callahan and flashy don't go hand in hand, but I'll give you this one. Head over to crownrashguards.com and check out their minimalist, affordable rash guards. And now, welcome to That Jiu Jitsu Podcast. We've been training more, you and I.
Yeah.
It's been great starts to the day. I love getting a roll before doing anything else for the rest of the day. And
I was just texting Brian White before we came on here, and I said, I got to go cast my pod, and then he asked, we were talking about the training. I was like, the intensity of these training sessions have come so far from what they were like 3 weeks ago. Like,
Yeah.
do you agree with that?
I definitely.
I feel like we're trying to kill each other now.
Yeah, because so we've rolled probably 25 or 30 rounds so far since we've been back training, since I've been back training, and there's not been a tap yet in either direction. So I feel like now it's like ramping up where we both, A, don't want to get tapped first, and B, I really want to tap you before you tap me. So
yeah, it was the other day was the closest.
Yeah, with that choke.
Yeah, it was the other was, when was it? It was Tuesday. It was yesterday morning.
Yeah.
It was the closest.
Well,
It might not just between us. That was the closest I've ever come. Not ever, but that was the closest I've come to tapping and not tapping and then not passing out.
I know what you mean.
But yeah, it's fun. So.
Well, I've told the story before on this show about how there was that time I tapped you and you got really mad and threatened to kill my whole family. And I had that choke yesterday, and I was like, if this hits, I might have to go into witness protection because he's probably going to come after me. Like, we're probably done rolling after this one. I'm just going to run out the door.
Yeah, but I mean, my contacts would be more loyal to me than they were to you. So it would be like that movie Sister Act when Whoopi Goldberg went into witness protection and eventually the mob found out where she was. So.
You got to love a 30-year-old movie reference. Really hooks in the millennials.
Yeah. I can still sing the songs that they sang, but I won't. But I can.
For all of our sake, please don't.
But I won't.
But I realized when I was watching two different instructionals sort of at the same time, because I was trying to compare the techniques, even back just training for like a couple weeks now, like I've been doing this show with you the whole time I haven't been training, and I've been drilling at home, and I've been doing all that, but like when I'm training constantly, I feel like hooked in, and I have that feeling right now. So I was thinking about some other signs that like people might have that they're overdoing it a little bit.
Right.
I guess the number one would be that I've realized that I do more laundry just to wash gis and rash guards.
Crazy. Because like you have like one of two choices, right? Like you can buy more shit or you can do more wash. So like for the longest time, I just had 2 gis, right? And I would every other day I would wash them. Then I was like, you know what? Like this isn't like, it's not worth doing all this wash. So now I'll just I think I have 4 gis now, like 4 gis. I have 4 gis that I rotate through, but that doesn't change anything. It's just a bigger pile of wash to do, and I'm doing the wash every 4 days now. You know what
Well,
I
it's because
mean?
you just
So
put it off. You're like, oh, I don't have to do the wash today because I have a
yeah,
different gi I can wear tomorrow.
yeah.
You ever bought a gi that was really nice and you told Diana J that it was cheaper than it actually was?
No, you know what? Because like I'm like it's just the way that I am in general. Like I'm a simple guy. Like I don't really buy extravagant things to begin with. Um, so I've always had um, I've always kind of found success with the gameness skis. I my blue one now is one of the is the gameness air. Um, I actually have a gameness pearl that I like. It's my black one. That's I think I like the best. But Brian White talked me into getting one of those tatami
Yeah,
the tatami airs. Is that what they
yeah.
are? Yeah.
I think that's what he wears.
It's the white one that I've been
Yeah,
wearing.
yeah.
So it's a little short, but like I like it. Like I like it a lot. But all of those skis are right around like the gameness skis. Remember, like when you do Fight to Win and you go on their website, like they give you the gameness coupons, right? So
Yeah,
like you're getting them for like $80, $90. Like I
it's not bad.
the only time I ever bought a like a show your old gi is I gave like Brian White did something for my dad, so I like bought him
Yeah,
a show your
yeah,
old gi, you know,
yeah.
as like a gift. But yeah, so that was like, but the price of some of these skis are crazy, man.
Well, that's why I like always be choking gis because they're super good gis, but they're not expensive.
So like personally for me, like I take a gi wherever I go. Like if we're planning a vacation somewhere, I always look for schools to drop in, like all the time.
Well, that's how we got
And
hooked up with the guys from 609, right? You dropped in on a vacation down
yeah,
there.
like so we go down to Sea Isle, and like I just was looking at a couple schools, and that's how I linked up with those guys. But like anywhere else, like down in Florida, and normally like people are very like hospitable, like to
Yeah.
if like you reach out and I won't. Diana J is very strict with her itineraries, so like I won't if it's gonna fuck up an itinerary, I won't. But um, if we have like some free time dialed in, like I'll hop in an Uber and go train somewhere. But
With or without her knowing that you're gone.
yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym and work out for a little bit. When we got married 5 years ago, we went to Mexico, and I was like on the computer looking for places to train, like in Playa del Carmen, and it's a very touristy town, but like it's one of those things. Like they have like a main strip, and they don't suggest that you wander too far from it. But like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like fully prepared to like backpack to this. It wasn't a jiu-jitsu gym. It was an MMA gym, but they had grappling classes. And at the about a week before our honeymoon, I decided to bring it up, and um, I would say it was a hard, somewhat hard pass
Yeah.
on her part.
Strongly implied you should not pack your gi.
Yeah, so the gi didn't come on the honeymoon, but anywhere else I go, the gi comes.
Have you ever purposely gone to a place just to train? Like, not you find a place when you're there. Have you ever scheduled a vacation around, like, oh, there's a tournament. We should go to California for a tournament and train?
No, no, but like I was talking to B White about this. Like Vegas is that's where the Masters Worlds are, and I don't know if they're going to have them this year, but 2021, 2022, we'll get out there, and that'll be the sole purpose of that trip. But the good thing about going out west is if you go out for those tournaments, obviously you don't want to like walk into a lion's den 2 days before a fucking world championships.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you go out there and you compete and you plan your trip around competing on the front end of it, then you have 4 or 5 days where you can just get
Yeah.
training sessions in and
Yeah.
just and if you're going there with like-minded people and they're like you sightsee here and there, but if you're going out there to get the experience of like the West Coast training, yeah, it would be awesome.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll have to take the show on the road. We'll compete. We'll broadcast from the hotel room. Maybe we can find someone to let us broadcast on their mats in their school. That Jiu
Yeah,
Jitsu World Tour 2021.
it's coming.
I'm not a big OS guy. A lot of people go OS a lot. Like, OS. I don't do it a lot. But I think if you
I
ever
don't
heard
do
someone.
it ever.
I know there's two things that you hate. It's OS and it's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, dude. The other
Everyone
day,
go. Technique
so
is done.
I'm
1,
at
2, 3.
yeah. So dude, the other day, so I'm at BJJ United now training, and I'm settling in up there. But so like I remember in the past when I was there, like they would do the 1, 2, 3 clap, right? So I I've been there for a little while now, but and they don't do it all the time now. I think they've done it a couple times since I've been there. However, the other day it's just ingrained like in me that the guy was like, "Okay, let's drill," and I just let out this loud clap by myself in the middle of the fucking gym. He didn't say 1, 2, 3. He didn't say anything. He just showed the move, and he was like, "All right, guys, let's do it." And I'm like, "Bam!" And everybody like looks at me like, "Who the fuck's the new guy that's clapping?" Like,
I've become everything I've sworn to hate.
Yeah,
I'm the clapper.
If I used to be Spider-Man, I'm now Venom. So, yeah.
That's a real dark turn for you, I'm sure.
It's terrible.
So, I think if you're saying OS in a meeting with your boss, you've probably gone a little too far into your obsession.
You didn't say that.
No, I didn't. I'm just saying. You know that people have.
Yeah, I just feel like, yeah.
You know what happens. You know what happens. You work with a lot of people who train. You can't tell me you've never heard someone unironically say OS on the job.
No. Yeah, I haven't.
Really?
Yeah, because I would just, I would make fun of them. Like it would be dealt with. It would be, and there'd be informal sanctions.
It's a violation. We should start giving out jiu-jitsu violations.
I'm trying to think of a way to put this. Like, I agree that it's a lifestyle, like the jiu-jitsu lifestyle. But you got to be able to separate church and state. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well,
like it's just
one that I'm guilty of is I was actually just doing it while we were watching The Bachelorette, where we're sitting on the couch with Amanda Jean and just grab a foot and start like foot locking it or like heel hook gripping it. Like if there's a foot near me, I'm gonna do things to it. It's like not even aware that I'm doing it. I had her foot and she's like, "Oh, is that like supposed to hurt me?"
Okay.
All right.
You so like your ACL?
I had to engage my legs and pull the full single leg X and show her. But she still lets me do it. So
because here's the deal: you're a father, you're a husband, you're a genuinely nice guy, but at the same time,
thanks.
like, mama ain't raised no bitch. You know what? Like, if you call for the thunder, be careful because it's coming. I shrimp out of bed.
What?
I don't like. It's weird. Like I always like. I don't like.
How does this happen?
Like I sleep on my side, so every time when I go to get up, like I bring my legs up to me, and then I just stand up.
All right, so I'm picturing you laying on your side.
Yeah.
Like you're facing into the middle of the bed.
Sometimes, yeah.
And then you shrimp and you bring your butt out. So now like your butt is like hanging over the edge of the bed.
I flip over so I'm facing the exterior of the bed. But I do sleep in. So I'll roll over and I'll just kind of scoop my legs up and then I'll just swing them up and go over. It's weird. But like somebody was talking to me about that years ago. And I was like, that's stupid. And then I tried it and I was just like, it became a habit.
You know, we just talked to Lachlan, and part of his guard retention was you should never hip out and you should never shrimp. So I would instead invert your way out of bed and make Lachlan Giles happy. The one, I think, it was more so for MMA than for jiu-jitsu, but the amount of times I had to miss out on a good meal or a birthday party because I was worried about a weight cut, so I couldn't eat the actual food. I would have my brother Jeff would be like my designated eater. So he would go up for a second and third plate, and I would just like vicariously eat through him and literally like watch him eat and have fun eating all the food.
So if you're training hard enough, like, and I've found this lately, like if you're training hard enough, like you can afford to be a little bit more relaxed with your diet.
Yeah, I
But
mean, with MMA, it was a bigger cut because it
yeah,
was like that's just more of the MMA culture. It was cutting more weight because everyone else was cutting more weight. Like for this tap cancer out fight, it's 75 kilos. I got to cut like 2 kilos in a month. I'm all right with having Oreos after dinner.
so do you know how much 75 kilos is? 150.
165.
It's 165, right? You see how you rounded it there and you didn't pull that bullshit out?
Well, I learned my lesson that I don't want to take the podcast on a 10-minute deep dive on the math of why there's decimal places in numbers.
Yeah. I saw a meme the other day where he wanted to leave a $3.14 tip, so he put pie.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's pretty
It's
good.
like,
You got to be smart. You get that joke. The last thing, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, I noticed that all I do now in my free time is watch instructionals because
Same.
I'm just addicted to watching things and trying new things, and I'm all over the guard retention anthology right now. I'm going to assume that while you're out there protecting and serving, you're not watching instructionals, but I will say that I'm guilty. I will say I'm guilty of watching instructionals on one computer monitor while I'm supposed to be working on the other computer monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Don't incriminate yourself.
I would never do that. Yeah, it's crazy the amount of jiu-jitsu videos that I watch, and my phone knows it. These are smartphones; they're not stupid phones, so they know what to put out there.
Yeah, if I pull up YouTube, like at the top, like 10 suggestions for me is all. It's but you know what gets me a little bit about YouTube and algorithms. If I watch one Craig Jones video, it's all Craig Jones video suggestions, which is great, but there's more to jiu-jitsu than just Craig Jones. And if I go watch a Keenan video, I get all Keenan suggestions. It's like, I'm trying to have a diversified game here, YouTube. You should recognize, give me like a leg lock video, and then a gi video, and then a guard passing video,
not how it
and
works,
a guard
man.
retention video.
It's not how it works.
They need a better jiu-jitsu algorithm at YouTube.
I'll talk to Zuckerberg about it.
I don't think that's the right guy for YouTube.
Well, he's got a hand in everything.
So just keep this, like, I guess, in your back pocket as a running list. If you notice you're doing 4 or 5 of these things, you might want to back it down a little bit because
No, don't go. If you're doing 4 or 5 of these things, look for a few more to do.
It depends on the stage in your life. You don't want to ruin the rest of your relationships if you only watch videos while you're leg locking your wife.
Cultivate that relationship with jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is a beautiful, beautiful person.
And if you need marriage advice, Mike Callahan is always here for you.
Hey guys, listen, we just want to take a minute to talk about what's coming up this week on our Patreon account.
So we just posted last week 2 technique breakdowns. I have a new technique breakdown of a standing rear naked choke in an MMA fight. You might have seen the video going around, so I broke that all down for you. We have the blooper reel is coming pretty soon as well, so there's a ton of bonus content there right now. Patreon.com/thatjujitsupodcast. Check it out.
And back to the show.
So in fight news,
Yeah.
let's start with MMA fight news first, and then we'll look at jiu-jitsu fight news. We've been campaigning for a long time to see Aljamain Sterling fight Peter Yan, and they just announced that fight's going to happen. Peter. Yan versus Sterling is the fight we've been campaigning for, and they announced it. So
I'm super stoked. I love Matt Serra. I love Ray Longo. I love their fight team. I think Matt Serra is probably like as well known as he is, like his personality is in the MMA world. He still is one of the most underrated personalities. He is just he's one of my favorites.
So Matt Serra, come on and talk to us.
But I'm really pulling for Aljo. I'm really, really pulling for him in this. Not that I don't like. I think Petr Yan is phenomenal.
Are we committed to Piotr? Are we sticking with Piotr?
I mean, I think Petr Yan.
Okay. They say Peter on the broadcast. I don't want to offend him or anyone.
Piotr.
I'm just gonna stick with Yan and cut it right down the middle so no one gets mad. But I
think that if Petr Yan had a problem with it, like
he ain't passing my guard.
What's he gonna do? It's not John Jones. He's not gonna beat the shit out of both of us.
John Jones ain't passing my guard either. We've been down this road.
Anyway,
So
so
we'll break that down. That
yeah,
fight is not for a while. They just announced that it was happening today. So we'll break down
I
the
think it's in December. It's in Las
yeah.
Vegas.
So we got some time. We'll break it down as it gets closer. But that's a very big announcement, and I think Aljamain Sterling, as we've discussed on this program in the past, is long overdue for a title shot. And I think this is a good fight. I think this is an interesting matchup for both guys.
Yeah, I agree. Um, they had. I think they're gonna try and get people in the stands in Abu Dhabi. Um,
Well, speaking of people in the stands, right before we started recording this, Conor McGregor said that he accepted the fight against Poirier in the UFC on January 23rd, and he also wants it to be at the Cowboys Stadium in Dallas because he's buddies with Jerry Jones.
he's such a fucking
And
idiot. He's such an idiot. You're a fucking idiot.
I don't know that they're gonna have like what does that building hold, like 100,000
Yeah,
in January for a Conor fight. I
yeah,
mean,
they're not.
that's
They're not gonna
ambitious.
fight there. They're not gonna fight there,
No,
especially in January. They're not gonna fight there. He's gonna fight either at the Apex or on Fight Island. Like,
yeah,
if I'm one of these guys, like, why not fight on Fight Island right now? You know what I mean? Like, if you have the
yeah, like
choice,
why not?
why not go to Abu Dhabi, stay at the W,
Yeah.
get on the beach, do your thing, Um, I
I know
watched
the
it.
UFC already has their own official podcast, but if they want us to come out and
Yeah, I
represent for
mean,
the podcast game, I'm ready to go.
I'll talk to Paul Felder. I'll talk to Paul Felder. He has no
Yeah.
idea who I am, but I'll talk to him and try and get us out there.
Also, someone get Paul Felder to respond to my DM and have him come on the show. He's a little busy, but he could do it, I think.
Did you watch the Philly Cop? So there's two of them. So Kyle Dawkis is his younger brother,
Mm-hmm.
and he fought on the Contender Series, and then he won, and then he fought at the Apex, and he lost a close fight. He fought his ass off, but he's got a fight coming up. But anyways, older brother. These are both Martinez guys.
Yeah.
They fight out of Will Martinez's gym. So Chris Dawkis is a Philly Cop, and he fights at heavyweight. And my man has some fucking lethal hands.
Yeah, dude.
So he was fighting this. I know his last name's Nascimento. Rodrigo Nascimento. That's his name. So he was undefeated, and Dawkins fucking starched him in like 45 seconds. It was crazy. So it's good. There's three really, really talented Philly prospects in the UFC right now, and it's the Dawkins brothers, and it's Sean Brady. Sean Brady he posted on his Instagram he got a fight with Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah.
So that's coming up too. So it's good. I
That's
like
a good
seeing
fight for him too, because that's a step up in competition. You know what I mean? Not that he's not been fighting good guys in the UFC, but like that's a more name recognized guy. So
yeah. I mean, I think Bilal's like either 17-3 or 19-3.
yeah,
Like he's
got a record. He's got a good record.
so yeah. It's always good to see like local talent getting up there, and
Yeah,
getting
absolutely.
on the big stage.
IBJJF Pans was just this past weekend.
Yeah, man. Shout out Danny Mara and Nick Salas. They used to. So I trained at NPR under Danny for a while, and they just opened up a new gym in Richboro. The two of them, and they're fucking monsters. And they were in the same division. I think they were in the adult featherweight division and in the brown belt division, the adult featherweight class, and they fucking ran through it, man. They closed out the division. It was awesome. Like that's a legitimate tournament. Like that is.
Yeah.
So they're both under Marcelo, I think, but they are both world class. We got to get to their gym too and check that out.
Yeah, if we could. I have this long list of growing places to
We'll
go
just drop
visit
in.
once. It's not like a plague or anything.
I remember when I first started training with Danny, like Danny, who like doesn't who didn't play a lot of half guard was like fucking schooling me on half guard techniques.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, he's like, he's like, just little intricacies that, really helped my game out. So I'm glad to see he's doing well.
Yeah. And that's the thing too with like I've always wanted to be like obviously like I have things that are specialties of mine that I think I'm really really good at, but I never wanted to be someone who didn't know a position or I couldn't give good advice in a position. So like I don't play the mount a lot. I don't like the mount. I just it's not my cup of tea, but I never wanted to like not know, not be able to coach someone. Like to have my own students, I need to be an expert in every position that possibly exists, which is why Keenan is so frustrating because he keeps coming out with these new positions that I like feel like I have to master so I can pass that information along.
I felt like Danny was like he's just one of those people where his mind works differently. Like he is just able to comprehend things on a different level. And he just is completely immersed in jiu-jitsu. And
you think he might be checking off a few of the things from the obsession list we talked about? Like, you think he's watching
I mean, like that's like he plans trips over to, I know he was over in Sweden with John Thomas, and like these guys go all over the place, and they go, with the, they'll go and sightsee, but they're going these places to compete. But he's just, I remember I would watch him, and he would pull guard, and then like I'd go to a wrestling class, and I wouldn't be able to fucking take him down. I'm like, so what the fuck do I do with this guy? Like I can't take him down. Yeah. I can't pass his guard. When he gets on top of me, he fucking slices through my half guard. Like, yeah. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? He is he's world class, and he is just he's a great guy. Very very good. Very good dude. I reached out to him as soon as I saw, and his mom, I don't know if you saw this, you've probably seen all these pictures floating around Instagram of the two older women.
The 7-year-old blue belts?
That was his mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
Wow, I didn't know
that.
that.
So his mom won pans too. She was like, I don't know, like Master 6 or Master, but she is, her name's Marilee. She's just one of the sweetest women that you'll meet, and she used to train at NPR. Now she's obviously with Danny.
Yeah, I had no idea that.
Yeah,
I had no idea there was that connection there. Also with the IBJJF, they just announced 2021. You can reap the knee and attack the heel hook at brown and black belt in no-gi tournaments with IBJJF. Which, when I first saw that on Instagram, I thought for sure it was like a troll fake story, but they confirmed it. So 2021, here I come.
Yeah, it's gonna change the game. It's going to change the game.
Yeah, it's going to change the game, but the guys at the top level are still at the top level. Like, I'm not sneaking in there and winning absolute because they're now letting heel hooks happen. Like, if you're at the top of the game, you already have enough to defend against mine.
You're, like, yeah, but now you're opening up the door for these guys like Craig Jones, like Lachlan Giles, like these guys who are very well versed in leg locks, like Gary Tonen's gonna come. Like it just, the Danaher guys. It's gonna open up the door for a lot of these high level guys who kind of just weren't on board with them banning the leg locks. And let's be honest, if you're a brown or a black belt, learn how to defend fucking leg locks.
How many top level guys have we talked to on this show who have said that they teach heel hooks and leg locks right from the get-go?
Everybody that we've never talked to somebody who hasn't said that.
Right.
Like, I don't want to say that every person we've had on has said that, but any person that we've broached that topic with has said that.
Exactly. And it's in any other position, would you want to get to brown belt and just learn what half guard is, or just learn what a choke is, or just learn what an omoplata is? Like, it's part of the game.
If you don't know it, if you're not well versed in executing leg locks submissions, like you can't. How the fuck are you gonna get a brown belt if you can't defend a heel hook?
Right. And maybe now that it's IBJJF legal for brown and black belts, maybe some of that old guard mentality of it's not real jiu-jitsu or blah 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 blah. Maybe now you have to like, okay, IBJJF is saying it's part of the game. I have to make it part of the game.
Yeah, you
And
have to. And
people,
for people who haven't been, you're now you're against the curve. Like
yep.
you're going against the learning curve, and it's fucking steep, and you're gonna have some issues if you're just now kind of starting to implement that into your game, which is crazy to me.
I
So
like the meme I see floating around every once in a while that says everyone always says leg locks are for people who can't pass guard. Well, maybe passing guard is for people who can't leg
good
lock.
leg lock, good for you. Yeah,
You wouldn't tell your students, don't worry about rear naked choke defense because rear naked chokes are a dangerous submission. Yeah, because you could kill somebody if you hold it on for too long. Like everything's dangerous. The mindset of you shouldn't learn it because it's dangerous is garbage mindset for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coaches.
mm-hmm. I agree.
And we could do an entire show on why heel hooks should be allowed, and we probably have in the past. But that's news, and I'm excited that news happens.
Here's another thing. I agree that they probably shouldn't be allowed in competition at the lower belts.
I agree.
Okay, yeah, okay. Like purple belt.
I agree.
Belt,
You don't need you don't need white belts ripping heel hooks in competition. They should know what it is. They should train it. They should drill it. They should have an understanding. When you get to brown belt in competition, let it rip. You should know what to do.
Yeah.
And at that point, I said this in the past, at that point, part of training leg locks is to know where you cross over from it kind of hurts to damage. And if the first time someone is attacking a leg lock is in competition and you don't know where your line is of where you need to tap,
You're either going to tap too early or you're going to tap too late. And
yeah,
if you tap tapping too early is the best case scenario there. And
yeah.
the consequence of that is fuck, I tapped too early, I could have won the match, or maybe I could have got out of it and won the match. And that's still a shitty consequence, but being ignorant to the position and not knowing when to tap could have serious long-term ramifications on your health.
Hot take alert. The only people who don't like leg locks are the people who are bad at them and can't defend them.
Yeah. You got it. That the only way that you're going to learn to defend them is to get put into positions time and time again. I don't want to talk shit because I was somebody who I don't want to say neglected leg locks, but like I just would always avoid the position. You know, and like you can see now by rolling with me, like it's just another position to work through. You know what I mean? Like, and you know,
yeah. When we roll 2 years ago, when you and I would roll, if I would go for the legs, I knew you wanted out of there as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now when we roll, not only do you go for the legs, but like you said, it was beautiful. It's just another position. It's the same as if you're in my half guard or vice versa. We're playing the legs. It's part of the game.
Yep.
Do you really want to get to a tournament because you've never trained leg locks and you're in a position where you are going to freak out? You don't know what to do there? Like,
yeah, fuck
should be
that
part
shit.
of the game. One more story from IBJJF Pans, which I might have to cut this out because it might go political. I don't think it will. There was floating around, a competitor had the swastika tattoo on his stomach. And his coach on Reddit had this big long post about the guy made mistakes when he was younger and he's a different person now and he's trying to overcome those mistakes and he had other tattoos and he's trying to have them covered up.
This isn't the guy who was married to that UFC fighter, was it?
I don't think so. I think this is just like a random hobbyist who was competing at Pans. But if you have the money to train jiu-jitsu every month and pay a membership and compete at an IBJJF tournament, you've got the money to cover up a 4-inch swastika tattoo on your stomach if you really are ashamed of it. It's just not a priority to you. If I had a school and a person came in with swastika tattoos...
Well, we did. Dude, we did.
You're out.
Anthony, to Anthony's credit, that the guy who was a white supremacist came in and started started training, and Anthony told him no, to Anthony's credit. Like,
you can't have that. You can,
yeah.
I agree. I again, I'm not painting with broad strokes here. People make mistakes when they're young, and everyone makes mistakes.
I've heard the excuse before of like people leaving those tattoos on because it reminds them of the mistakes they made in their youth. Nope, buddy. Nope. If you get Elmer Fudd tattooed on your ass, maybe, but not a fucking swastika.
Yeah.
Imagine like and you're like those rooms, like the days of those jiu-jitsu tournaments, like that's the most dangerous room in the world on that particular day. Like, you are in the most dangerous room in the world on that particular day.
Yeah. And again, I'm not painting with broad strokes. This dude might be the nicest dude in the world now, realized mistakes he's made, has taken steps to correct them, and he might be I might meet this guy in a room and not see his tattoo and walk out of the room and say he's the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
However, still have a swastika tattoo that you made no effort to cover up. That's all I need to know about you.
Yeah.
And if you were a homeless dude who had $0 and literally could not cover it up and you were ashamed of it, that's a different story. You're paying to compete in a jiu-jitsu tournament.
And you're paying for registration. That probably cost them $250 to do this tournament,
You could have walked into a tattoo parlor with $200 and said, put a big black square over this swastika.
Yep. I agree with you. I don't think that's political. I just think that's being a decent human being. But yeah, it has that what we just talked about has nothing to do with politics and everything to do with just being a decent human being and having a general respect for everybody.
Yeah.
And we don't need to be a political podcast to have that stance.
And I don't want to hear a word about how unfair it is that you're being judged because you have a swastika. Because you have a swastika, you can go fuck yourself. And don't listen to our show. If you disagree that having a swastika means you can go fuck yourself, don't listen to our show.
Yeah. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. If you want to follow us on social media, we've put the links below so you can go and check them out. We've also put the link to our YouTube page below. You can go on there and check out video versions of all of our episodes.
I'm also going to link to our Patreon account. We have tons of bonus content there, technique breakdowns, instructionals. You get early access to episodes, so there's a lot of bonus content there that's worth checking out. I'm also going to link to the fundraiser page for the Tap Cancer Out charity match that I'm doing in November. So check that out, and if you can donate, we really appreciate it.
And if not, you can support our cause by simply sharing the link that we put below.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.